very fortunate to have with us today Christoph Krois, who is an amazing character. He's an entrepreneur, but he's also the founder of the Siemens innovation ecosystem. And we'll hear a little bit more about that. But I've known Christoph for a while, and Christoph worked very hard at the role of innovation management inside a large company. So thank you so much for spending a little time to talk with us, Christoph. Maybe I could begin by asking you what it is you do. It's an impressive set of activities. Could you just describe a little what you do as an innovation manager?
The question is, my boss is always asking me the same question. What are you doing? To be honest, I have three main pillars I'm working in. So I'm responsible for open innovation. So scouting, testing, and releasing open innovation methods and tools to the organization, and providing the fertile space so the organization can become more transparent for partners all around the world. Second pillar is the entrepreneurship program what I'm responsible for is called Entrepreneurs Bootcamp. So it's a short time frame where we help to identify entrepreneurs within the organization, to teach them about state-of-the-art methods and tools, to make them strong and resilient, to make them grow in their personal mindset, to withstand what I always say, the immune system of the organization, and teach them how to leverage the unfair advantages of this great organization. And the third pillar is the Siemens innovation ecosystem. It's a digital home of innovation, a one-stop shop for all our colleagues internally on one hand, where we gonna meet, where we aggregate all these innovation opportunities and help to orchestrate that the people can connect, all these experts and the like-minded people can come together to create innovation in a fast and efficient way. And the second part of the innovation ecosystem is also an external platform, because an ecosystem does not know any borders. So we, of course, want to extend this, and we want to collaborate also with external partners like suppliers, startups, universities, etc. So there's the digital space also to the external world.
Oh, so there's a fair amount of free time that leaves you, I guess. A joke.
Some mentioned it.
That's amazing, Christoph. And maybe a second question linked to that, though. How did you get here? What's the trajectory that led you to taking on this role and developing this huge ecosystem? Where did it all come from? What were the skills you learned? Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to today?
And I would like to invite you to show into the mirror, John, because you infected me indeed with the virus of open innovation during my studies. And so I learned a lot about open innovation, what innovation in general is, and that, somehow, opened my heart. And I understood that this is connected to my purpose, to what drives me out of bed every day in the morning, to get together the people, to create something new, to work entrepreneurial, to create something. So this growth mindset, is something that is something sexy, to be honest. That, and I want to help others to get this feeling as well, to grow and to get on their own journey, to become entrepreneurial, to see the world as opportunity, and what you're doing when you have a growth mindset. And this is so much fun, you meet people, like-minded people, you meet open-minded people, and you can create. And this brought me to different positions. And finally, this inner energy somehow helped me to create my job, which wasn't there, obviously, before. So I created this job.
Well,
On the other hand, my organization allowed me to do that things, So and it's about giving and taking.
Well, I mean that's great, and your energy is bubbling out of you. Your whole body language is still as enthusiastic as ever. But let me then ask you another question. Siemens is not a small company; it's huge, and that's not normally the place you expect to find this entrepreneurial, energetic spirit. The picture is a sort of slow, steady giant. Can you explain a little bit about the challenge of working in that kind of context?
Well, of course, as I said, there's kind of an immune system that tries to stay where it is. On the other hand, a huge company gives a lot of opportunities. So if you see that in a growth mindset as a chance to create new things, and if you look into your environment, you see these opportunities, the needs, the pains that this great organization has. And from this perspective, I'm an entrepreneur within the organization that was lucky enough to get the chance to create a value for the organization. And so I always try to create this and make that visible, that what I do, not just me, but my whole team, what we do is creating a value. And so we could, somehow find investors within the organization, and we create impact with what we do. And therefore, they allow us to do that, what we do.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that picks up a conversation we've had before, but it seems to me large companies are carrying one major asset. They know so much. The question is, if only Siemens knew what it knows, and if it only could mobilize that. That seems to be what you're managing to do with this ecosystem. Could you tell us a little bit more, perhaps with a couple of specific examples of how this open innovation inside a company like Siemens is actually working?
So we have this explanation of open innovation within the organization, so inside in. So since we are more than 60 mid-sized companies combined in this big organization, so we deliver to different markets and with different technologies. But what they have in common, if you think about a simple thing, just welding, people are welding in the train business. They are welding in the business of the wind energy, in the gas turbine section, etc., etc. So if one person has a problem in the train business, they can open up an idea challenge and ask all the experts around Siemens, hey, can you please help me with this problem? And maybe have you solved that? And so we can tear down walls. People are getting more and more open because they have a value in creating or asking others, doing idea contests or idea challenges, or asking throughout the organization. And this is, by these little success stories and the value that we created, people say, I've heard that you created a value. May I also ask for this opportunity? Yes. And we're trying to communicate these successes and make our customers, our open innovation customers, famous, and others do want to become famous as well. But to be honest, it's not easy. People know a lot. And what I always say to my colleagues is, there's intelligent life outside Siemens. Question is, how can we leverage that, since the markets are moving faster and faster? You might have heard of the terms VUCA, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So same applies to B2B markets, and even in trains or gas turbine markets where the product life cycle is 25 years. Times are moving faster and faster. Decentralized energy is, somehow killing some markets, and so people have to move faster and faster. So, and not all competences are on board within Siemens, and building up competences takes 5 years at least. So how can we leverage the knowledge from all around the world? And this story is like a mantra that I'm always telling our people. And to be honest, I have maybe reached 5% of all those people, and still, working like crazy to get more and more people on board. So the market is huge. On the other hand, so this is what I'm doing.
It's absolutely fascinating and challenging, but still energizing. That's very clear. One sort of last question, or moving in towards that. It's nearly Christmas time, and we have the tradition of the Christmas fairy. So just imagine for a moment I'm the Christmas fairy, and I could grant you a couple of wishes, okay? These wishes you can use to make open innovation, make innovation happen more effectively. What would you wish for?
Well, I always say I'm going to retire if every person at Siemens can make the decision, will I do it myself? Will I add an external partner? Will I do open innovation? When every person at Siemens can do this for every single task that she or he is doing, and has the competences and abilities to select between the different opportunities of doing it alone, make or buy, etc., 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 that they have the opportunity to select. So I have like a work box, and I take this tool, I take a screwdriver or a saw or everything, whatever is there. They know what is around, and they just pick the most suitable one. And parts of it can be open innovation, the ecosystem, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, to make them successful. If I could make a wish, that would be my final wish.
That sounds great. So you're really concerned that everybody becomes an entrepreneur inside this organization, and you can help with whatever they need to make that happen.
Absolutely. It's about empowerment. People have to understand that they are allowed to make decisions in everything they do, and they do it. They just need to get aware of it, that it's not a management that's doing it for them. They have to decide every day, what will I do with this task? Will I do it alone? Will I reinvent the wheel? Or shall I look into the opportunities and take something out of the drawer of, proud of finding it elsewhere, as I say,
That sounds wonderful, and you're a great advertisement for a career in innovation management. Maybe one then last question. Could you for a moment now become Uncle Christoph and imagine that you're speaking for a moment to somebody who's just leaving university or just leaving a current position and is interested in a career in innovation management? What friendly advice might Uncle Christoph give them?
Follow your heart, follow your purpose, and you will will becoming great in what you do. You will be good, and always be open for new opportunities and look into things, and by following the heart. And sometimes, the journey that you start is sometimes painful, but it's a learning path. Things go wrong, but never stop to decide. Go for it, go through the dark sides of the moon, you will be learning, and with the experience you will find your way. It's not something that others do and that I need to copy. It's about your pathway. And when I started, nobody was talking about innovation management. Nobody ever. So I followed my heart, and there were decisions. So shall I go left or right? Well, go left or right. Never stop, because at the next crossing you will again have to decide left or right. So no matter what you do, maybe you come back to the other path, but keep going, and that will be your success.
That's a wonderful point to end this. Thank you so much, Christoph, for sharing a little of your innovation journey, and I hope we can talk to you again soon. But thank you for now. Thanks.
Looking forward. Thanks a million.